London to Silverstone by bike. I am really going to feel this tomorrow. But Silverstone is hosting rounds 23 and 24 of the Auto Trader British Touring Car Championship. It's the grand finale, and I can tell you we are looking at an absolute grandstand of a finish as well. Petrol permitting, that is. But if I can get here, well, hopefully the touring car teams can as well. Otherwise, you're staring down the barrel of an hour of this. Okay, well, I'm assured they are all inside and they've all got fuel to boot. So that means it's time for the showdown.
And then there were three: Alain Menu, Ricard Rydell, and Anthony Reid. All in Fords and all in touching distance of the title. But in a season that's had plot twists galore, last time out at Alton Park shook up the order yet again. Rydell got the most to do after a spot of forced wall inspecting in race one. But Alain Menu didn't do a whole lot better, salvaging fifth after a spot of argy-bargy. And Reedy, well, he just let him get on with it and cruised to victory. At least Rydell finished race two, but down in eighth after a pit lane speeding penalty. Now he's third in the points, with Menu lying second overall after a sixth in race two, and Reedy on top of the pile after adding a second place to his race one win. But boy, oh boy, it's close.
Oh, and just to add an extra twist and make it really, really interesting, we're racing under lights.
Snetterton started the trend for nocturnal knockabouts, but with the title coming down to the wire, Silverstone's floodlit finale looks like brewing up a real storm.
Right then, quiz time. Now, with drop scores to think about, let's see if these three rocket scientists here know what they've actually got to do to win the title. No conferring. Now here's your starter. How many points must Anthony Reid drop, and what does he have to do to guarantee winning the title? Come on. I must hurry you.
Ford, Reid.
I've got to beat Alain Menu, and I've got to finish on the podium twice.
Correct. Now, here's another starter, and once again, no conferring. How many points must Swiss former champion Alain Menu drop? And give me one way he'd win the title. No conferring, Ford. Time.
Ford, Menu.
I am dropping 2 points only, so I need to finish in front of Anthony, score minimum of 11 points, and if Ricard wins both races with 2 poles, then I've got to finish in the first 4 in both races.
Okay, I'll give you that. Final starter question now. Similar theme. 1998 champion Ricard Rydell. He doesn't drop any points, but what must he do to take a second title? And I must hurry you here. Come on, come on. Rydell. Come on, 2 seconds, come on.
Ford, Rydell.
Well, I need to have 2 pole positions, win both races, and I need for Anthony and Alain to have a bad weekend, really.
Yes. Correct. Okay, that's all we have time for. We'll check the final scores at the end of the show, but in the event of a tie, Menu will take the title on most race wins. Until then, good night. So that's the theory anyway. Now time for a reality check and qualifying.
One man who looked like missing the train after a practice shunt was Indy King Matt Neal. But last year's car and a race against time put him back on track.
Not nervous at all.
2 fifths was a great effort, but it could have been more.
Okay, thanks, Matt. You're P1 at the moment, P1.
Honda's Tom Christensen hit the ground running and ruined Rydell's plan for a pair of poles. The Dane got the bonus point for the feature pole, but had to make do with second for the sprint. Not a bad afternoon's work, all in all. In fact,
Very good, very good.
hey, but what about the Fords? Well, Reed could only take 6th spot for the feature, but did manage 4th for the sprint. Not the end of the world.
Not bad for the weight that they're carrying. They're only 2 tenths away.
Menu fared better in his Mondeo, the Swiss taking a pair of 3rds, which seemed fine by him.
I'm on target. Well, that's, good effort. I finished well. Excellent.
But Rydell was nearest to the bull with a sprint pole and that all-important point, plus a front row for the feature. Class B is still up for grabs too, with Peugeot's Alan Morrison just a squeeze ahead in the points. His teammate Dan Eads took class pole for the feature, but Morrison's title nemesis James Kay was king of the hill for the sprint.
We've just got to try and do as best we possibly can this weekend and hope for a bit of luck.
James got to go for it, but we're the ones got the points lead, so we can basically sit back and he's the man that has to work hard. So as far as I can understand, we're in the driving seat. Can't see any problem why we shouldn't be all right.
Best of luck, Matt.
What a way to go, and what more fitting way for the championship to end than for the entire series to come down to the last race meeting of the year. And better still, all 3 protagonists in the title hunt are wedged together on the first 2 rows of the grid. Ricard Rydell, he's in pole position, but Ricard really needs to win this race if he's to take his title chase right down to the last race, the feature later on tonight. Tom Christensen out of the title hunt, but he could be a spoiler in this. Then on the 2nd row of the grid, Alain Menu in the Ford, and right alongside him on the 2nd row, Anthony Reid in the other Ford. Now these 2 guys have got to think about tactics. Do they worry about Ricard Rydell or just let him go and worry about each other? And either way, worry about getting around the first corner together, side by side.
First corner always a problem at Silverstone, but Ricard Rydell has done half of the job by getting his pole position. And alongside him, the Dane Tom Christensen, showing that Honda really is a competitive team this year. Then it's the 2 Fords of Menu and Reid in row 2, Matt Neal in a 98 Nissan, and James Thompson, and we'll talk about Neal a bit later, Plato and Tarquini in row 4, and then Vincent Rademacher and teammate Ivan Muller in row 5. David Leslie returns with a Nissan in row 6, and the fastest of the Class B cars, James Kay in his Honda. 2 Peugeots in row 7, Bryce Wilson in a Nissan in row 8 alongside Mark Lemmer, with the 2 Nissans of Norden and Collard in row 9. Nick James and Kimber Smith in his Toyota in row 10, Tom Ferrier in his Alfa, row 11.
Revs are up, ready for the off. Rydell on the right, he's away cleanly, so is Christensen. A pair of Fords right behind them. All the Class A cars through cleanly. That's Dan Eaves in the Class B having a dart now, coming towards us for the first time. Christensen on the left. That's James Thompson lunging up the inside. Rydell is through cleanly, then it's nose to tail. Reid and Menu. Matt Neal trying to move around the outside, on board with Matt Neal now. James Thompson ahead of us. That's Alain Menu right beside us. In through Maggott's corner, we've got to turn right in a second. Neal and Menu very close. Jason Plato. Menu is off. Menu is spinning. Can he hold it? Menu is off, and Plato. Jason Plato has collected him on the turn into Beckett's. And that's off. That's the end of his race.
Well, that's a disaster for Menu. His championship hopes clearly must have just dropped. And Jason Plato also, he's out with a damaged suspension, maybe a damaged steering.
Great news for this man in a bad sort of way, because Anthony Reid was being 1 down, 1 to go. On board now with Gabriele Tarquini, that's Matt Neal, the independent ahead of us, and an absolute death wobble there for Matt Neal, turning into the complex, hangs onto it, side by side, rubbing pedals with each other, big slide by Neal Tarquini through one of the boxels there, darting up the inside. I'm getting dizzy already, and we're still on the first lap. Now let's have another look at Alain Menu.
Coming into Beckett, Neal, Menu, Plato, but Menu, he loses. I thought initially maybe Plato had been involved, but in fact Menu just loses the back of the car. That's the penalty, a front-wheel drive, cold rear tires. Was he too anxious? Was he too keen? Well, certainly that confirmed that he was not going to go much further.
And a very big impact there from Jason Plato, and it's had a big impact on the Ford team as well. They know how bad that is, how serious it is for Menu. Meantime, back on board with Anthony Reid, he will know that Alain Menu, the man he's challenging most, is now out.
Menu is out. Menu out.
There's the confirmation. So on board with Reed, ahead of us now, and Jason Plato, of course, having to come back into the pits. I guess his race has run as well. A lot of smoke there.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage on the left front of the car, but back to the Class B battle.
I know, side by side there for Morrison and Kay. That's as close as you like, and Kay says, no way, Jose, I'm going to hold you off. Morrison says, I'm going to squeeze through, and does he side by side into the complex. Morrison's holding it. Kay's not going to give up that easily. Side by side, another left-hand turn. There's Kay, and Morrison is through. Now, Morrison's got to hang on to this now for the Luffield right-hander. Kay's trying to feed on the power. Morrison's got it, though, it looks like.
And it's going to be a battle just of pure horsepower. Peugeot versus Honda down the long pit straight.
And it looks as though it's got some serious squirt, that Peugeot, straight across the line, and a little bit of a comfort zone gap. Not a comfort zone gap, though, for Rickard Rydell. He's in the lead. Christensen is really bringing him under pressure now into the complex. Everything so far, at least, is working Rydell's way. He had most points to make up. Menu is off, and Rydell still is in the lead. But Christensen looks like he's really hunting to take that off. Leading the power into the right-hander. That Ford looks very crisp in there. Now, what can Christensen do on the back straight as we look at Jason Plato's car?
It all kind of slowed up going to the back. It's Alan half spun, and then we're all kind of waiting to see which way he went. And he kind of went across the inside curve sideways, and I had nowhere to go but kind of stop. And I kind of stopped waiting for him to get out of my way, and I got a punt up the rear, and that sent me into Alan.
Well, all very unfortunate for Alan Menu, but he was the master of his own fate in that particular one. Plato just an innocent bystander, and not always the case either.
Well, bad news for Menu, but problems for Reed as well now. Those eyes in the rear vision mirror tell us that he's having to fend off a big challenge from this man, James Thompson, in the Honda. Honda's alongside him going through Abbey, side by side up the hill. He looks over his shoulder. We know where you are, James. You're there somewhere. We're going to turn right in a minute. Bridge corner. This is very fast, and that's Thompson. Thompson is through. Now, what can Reed do? Big left-hander into the complex now. No, he's definitely lost that position.
And really, Anthony Reed's been looking everywhere, but ahead of him, he's looked to the side, to the back, and now he's lost another position. But remember, he came into this race with the biggest number of points, but he also has got to drop more than any of his teammates.
Big pressure for Reed. Nice pass, though, from James Thompson.
And, of course, that's also affected the battle for the lead, but look at this battle crowded on the field.
And Matt Neal just being slithered past by Ivan Muller. Muller now right behind Gabriele Tarquini, and ahead of us is Anthony Reed with more problems to deal with. Muller just really in the tow there. This is the big long haul back down the straight. Reed coming under big pressure from Gabriele Tarquini. Meantime, David Leslie is also coming under some big pressure from Vincent Rademacher, but this is not good news for Anthony Reed.
And as Reed's got a problem, he's allowing himself to be sucked back into the pack. And, you know, that's danger zone for Anthony Reed. He wants to stay clear of any of these three cars behind him.
Well, there's the man leading the pack behind him, Tarquini. He's in 5th position because we know Anthony Reed is now back in 4th. And Tarquini is really looking to squeeze his way through. Nick James at play again.
Seems to like the gravel here at Silverstone.
That's comfy stuff, but this isn't comfy for Anthony Reed because he's weaving all over the place, trying to hold Tarquini off. This is the drag down into Abbey. Reed's got the defensive line. Tarquini is side by side. There's a U-turn coming up. This is maximum pressure. Muller's trying to get past as well. Matt Neal is bunching up all over the back of Anthony Reed. They're swarming on him.
And they're coming up to Bridge Corner and then into the complex. But yellow flag out, so no overtaking this time.
Okay, on board with Muller now. Excuse me, Tarquini just slithers back past us. Muller looking down the inside. Sacre bleu! That's Matt Neal just muscles his way past. Unlike Ivan Muller there, just seemed almost to leave the door open, but he's lost his space. Neal's now behind Tarquini.
He overtakes me on the red flag, on the yellow flag. He overtakes me on the yellow flag. Matt Neal.
Well, Muller understandably very upset. Matt Neal did something which is a holy of holy. You don't overtake under a yellow flag. He could be penalised, he could be disqualified, but certainly he's lost a place as well.
Well, here's a man still desperate not to lose a place. It's Anthony Reed in that yellow and blue Ford. Mark Lemmer in the independent Class B. Honda just moving to one side, allowing Tarquini through. Back at the front, this is Rickard Rydell in the other Ford. He's leading our race. And behind us, you can see right behind us is Tom Christensen, right on our bumper. We're heading down the hill towards the Abbey corner. Any minute we're going to stand on the brakes. Rydell has to defend this corner. This is valuable points. And that Honda looks hungry.
And he's also looking for a position. He's positioning himself to get the drive out of Abbey, up the hill, into bridge. Hopefully that yellow flag's gone, and this race will continue.
Christensen, Rydell, under bridge corner, coming up into the complex. Christensen lines him up down the inside, and he lunges. Big pass. Tom Christensen has lunged it. Can Rydell fight back? No, he can't. He's made it stick. Great stuff, and the Honda boys know it.
Great pass that began coming out of Abbey. Track position was critical. He got the drive up the hill. Oh, look at this.
And Tarquini tries to do exactly the same thing, and it doesn't work, and more impact. Ah, that's Anthony Reid. That's Anthony Reid. That's his championship hopes out. There's a Honda off. That was Tarquini. There was a Vauxhall. The guys in the Ford camp trying to sort that out.
Well, talk about deja vu. We saw the same thing happen to Anthony Reid some months ago in the first round here at Silverstone.
Now let's have another look. There's Anthony Reid going off backwards into Tarquini. He was turned around and then, if you like, got his own back. Muller was right in the thick of that. Here's his view.
Well, Muller gets a very good view of it. What happens is Tarquini takes a very wide line, cuts back. Reid tries to stay in the middle of the road to prevent Tarquini coming through.
I was in battle with Anthony. Anthony was very slow compared to me. And he was changing line every time, and he changed line in between two corners. I was in, so he spun in front of me, and he went into the grass, and he come back onto the track, and he take me off.
Bit of instant retribution there.
Well, racing drivers' memory sometimes need to see the replay. Certainly I wouldn't want Gabriele Tarquini to be a witness in a driving incident with me, because I think I might be found guilty. Well, I could have been absolutely innocent, Your Honour.
Well, bad luck for Anthony Reid. Earlier bad luck for Alain Menu. That means that this guy, Ricard Rydell, who is being lunged at by James Thompson. Ricard Rydell in the last remaining Ford. I feel Lady Luck is smiling on him. All he has to do is hang on to that, get points, close the gap, stay in the championship race. But to do that, he needs maximum points, and to do that, ideally, he needs to keep James Thompson off him. That's exactly the place where a lap ago, Tom Christensen lunged past. Rydell is wise to that now. James Thompson looking to the outside, first part of the complex. A big U-turn. Luffield is coming up next. What can James do? Gets in tight. Gets in very tight. Just gives him a little bit of a wet and dry rub down on the way past and through.
Yeah, the Honda works very well in Luffield. Thompson can get the nose of the car tucked right into the curb, gets under the Ford, gets past. But Rydell's got to be careful. He can't force the issue too much. 10 points for third are better than 0 for not finishing.
Still on the podium, Ricard Rydell, third position. Still very much in touch with James Thompson, though. Thompson has not got away cleanly as Christensen did. Rydell scratching his head, thinking, actually, points for second would be better than points for third. I want the point back. In down the inside. Oh, just hats him out of the way, and Thompson is off, and Rydell back in P2.
Well, in that phlegmatic Swedish way, Thompson got the slightest of touches on the rear of his Honda. Ricard would have been happy with that one. He's back into 12-point scoring position.
He's got to finish second.
And the boys on the Ford wall, they know what's going on, doing the sums. That's better. Now, here's the scrap between Muller and Matt Neal, and this is still going on. Matt Neal there, a very aggressive line.
And this is the 98 Nissan. Remember, not the 99 one we've seen Matt Neal in all year. It's the 98 car. How good is it?
And how good is this man, Tom Christensen, as he's about to start his last lap in the Honda in the lead. And then Vincent Rademacher using what's left at the front of his Vauxhall to barge Matt Neal out of the way. This scrap has been going on all race long. Muller, Rademacher and Matt Neal side by side down the pit straight. This is a complicated little bunch of bread. Matt Neal forces Rademacher over towards the pit wall, and amazingly he's through. Nicely done. And that's Muller. No, Muller's the problem. Okay, Muller's just dropped out of that race. What his issue is, we're running out of laps fast here. But these two still going at it, Hammer and Tom. Neal in front, Rademacher coming back at him now. Never say die, Vincent Rademacher.
Like a pair of little terriers squabbling in the kennel, neither prepared to concede 1 inch.
Still side by side, down towards Abbey Corner. Banging panels. Matt Neal seems to have the corner, but Rademacher is going to muscle his way through, is he? He pushes him out of the way. This is not more like, oh, it almost picks up David Leslie in the Nissan as well. It's more like an episode of the Three Stooges than a motor race. Take that, push him off. Now, here's the Class B battle. James Kay, ahead of us is Morrison and Dan Eves. This isn't just a battle for the race, it's a battle for the championship because Kay and Morrison are the two men that can take it out. Morrison on the left-hand side of his screen, his teammate Eves moves to one side. Morrison through, nice teamwork, that should help.
Dan Eves really here to help Morrison tie up the championship. If he can do it in the sprint race, all to the better. But it's very close in points because James Kay is within striking distance on the track and in the championship.
And here's a man within striking distance of the checkered flag and a race win.
Yes, guys, yes.
Yes, indeed. That was Christensen coming across the line there in first position. Nice drive. Rickard Rydell muscles his way back to second. He needs those points. And talking of needing points, Anthony Reid staggering across the line in 7th position, having been turned around by Tarquini. Now, meantime, Kay has passed Eves.
Just shows you how keen James Kay was to keep on terms with Alan Morrison, because this is the battle for the championship and it's going to be sewn up now in this sprint race.
So close. There is James Kay just in the distance. You can see Alan Morrison. That's how close the championship came. He crosses the line. A winner in the race in Class B and a winner in the championship. And there's the winner in the race in Class A, the outright leader, Tom Christensen. Second, Rickard Rydell. Boy, did he need that. James Thompson, third. Vincent Rademacher, a very boisterous fourth. And his playmate, the independent Matt Neal, makes it onto the leaderboard, top 5. David Leslie, stealth and opportunism, forces his way up to 6th position. Then Reid and Muller. But what about Christensen and that move on Rydell?
Yeah, but he was driving still very quick and just defended a little bit. I realized there was a few spots where he was struggling a bit, and he had lost his left mirror. So I thought the best possibility is into there, but it's a bit risky. But if I can get out of his mirrors on the bridge, and I was very close to try when there was suddenly yellow flag the lap before that. But it was good. He moved as far as he legally could, and there was still space enough for the Honda. So I'd say it was very good for me, and sorry for Rickard.
Nicely played, Tom. And in Class B, Alan Morrison winning the sprint race. It's enough to make him the 2000 champion. With one race to go, well done, Alan.
Just glad of the way it's all went. And, you know, I say everybody's done a fantastic job all year. Everybody in the team has worked so hard, and the cars went so well. You know, we had such an advantage at the start of the year, and, you know, them guys at the other teams have caught us up a wee bit, and, you know, we have pulled it through to the end, and all credit to everybody.
Class A is not that simple. It's going right down to the wire. Last race, 3 Ford men, all in contention, and tons of damage from race 1 to sort out, as well as that point score.
Yeah, I mean, obviously now I don't drop these 2 points anymore. So I'm on 184. So I need to finish in the first 3. Third, minimum third. If Rydell wins, doesn't matter. I'm champion, as long as Anthony is no better than 2 places behind me. So it's all to play for. Won't be easy.
It's very, very tight. I think, I mean, I'm not a mathematician, I never will be. But I just get the feeling it's very tight. It could go any one of 3 ways between Rickard, Alan and myself. So I'm sure it's going to be very exciting for all concerned tonight.
Well, we're loving the atmosphere. It's a fabulous night here.
Magic.
Great crowd. Night's fallen, the tension is really building, and I tell you, my headache's building as well, trying to work out the numbers around who can win this championship. As I can work it out in a nutshell, if Anthony Reid wins, he's got it sewn up.
That's right.
If Alain Menu wins, pretty well he's got it sewn up. There's a minor problem with Reid actually finishing in second, but forget that. Menu wins, he's okay. Reid wins, he's okay. Rydell wins, he needs other things to happen. So really for Anthony Reid, he's slightly in the box seat.
Yes, he is, and I mean, Anthony's got an opportunity. The problem is he's starting in 6th place. We saw in the sprint race he got into trouble with Tarquini. Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen at the start, and it's Rydell's got the best grid position of all 3 Fords, so he's got the best chance in this race to win, but he can't control what his teammates are going to do. I have to think Anthony Reid really must be the favourite. He is leading the championship, but he is starting 3rd of the Ford, so therefore, in one sense, he's actually coming from behind anyway, but he's doing it on the racetrack, and I think there's great inspiration there for Reid to target and stay in touch with his teammates to try and get past the Hondas and beat the Hondas this time, which will be very difficult. So I'm going to go with Anthony.
Okay, forget about the mathematical possibility. Time for some mechanical actuality. Ford have been flat out between these races working on the cars, and here is the result. Ricard Rydell, he's on the front row of the grid. He's got a new engine. Alain Menu, his teammate, on the second row of the grid. He's got a new engine, and he's also got new steering parts because of that off he had in race 1. Both he and Ricard Rydell have changed their engines because they were getting water inside the cylinder head. Maybe that was impairing performance. Remember, the Hondas were all over them. One way or another, we are soon going to know. Then on the third row of the grid, Anthony Reid in the third of the Fords. No new mechanical parts here, but I can tell you a truckload of body parts, courtesy of that big tangle he had with Gabriele Tarquini in race 1. 3 Fords, race ready, ready to win a championship. Boys, sorted.
Tom Christensen made it look pretty easy in the sprint race. He's got full position for this evening's feature race. It doesn't get much better than that. Ricard Rydell's alongside him, but the bonnet of that Ford's up. There's a problem somewhere in the engine. Menu and Thompson on row 2, and Matt Neal still starring in that 98 Nissan alongside Anthony Reid in row 3. Tarquini and Rademacher, and they've been in the thick of things all weekend in row 4, and Muller and Plato make it a Vauxhall row 5. David Leslie, and this time Dan Eves leaving Class B, and Morrison and Mark Lemmer on row 7.
And there he is in the pit lane. Ricard Rydell is getting out of his car. I can't believe this. It's all over.
It's terrible. Ricard Rydell doing a great job to finish second in the sprint race. His championship chances have diminished.
They're all over. There's the gap on the grid where he ought to be. Tom Christensen is away cleanly. The rims are up. The race has started. This is great for Menu, and it's also great for Anthony Reid because it's leaving the track wide open. Now, side by side, Christensen in the lead. I think it's Thompson down the left-hand side. Menu trying to fight back. Around cleanly, there they go. 2 Hondas, then the Ford. Now we're on board with Muller, and ahead of us is Vincent Rademacher doing an absolute sideways, lurid slide through Cops Corner. I think he kept running as the rest of the field slides down into Maggots and Beckett's for the first time. Christensen, there he is in the Honda, followed by Thompson, then Alain Menu. 1 Ford down from his point of view, 1 to go, and the other 1 to go is behind him so far. Menu in 3rd position. Trying to pick up position, looking down the inside of James Thompson. Thompson covers through Abbey Corner. Got a Vauxhall breathing down our neck behind us, and a Honda right in front of us in a championship, 1 race away if he can just do it. Keep ahead of Anthony Reid. Down through Bridge Corner for the first time. Still looking to fight. Big slide there from James Thompson. And Menu sees the opportunity, muscles down the inside, takes the pass. Tough stuff. Thompson's in trouble now. Defending, trying to fight back. He's in 4th position, not for long. That's Matt Neal, the independent in the Nissan. He muscles past as well through Luffield Corner. 1 slide has cost him so dear.
Second into the first corner, 4th at the end of the first lap. But remember, this is a battle not just for this race, but the championship. Menu needs to get out in front as soon as possible.
This looks like fun. We're on board with Jason Plato. That's Muller on the right-hand side and Tarquini in the Honda on the left. Big fast right-hander, Cops Corner. Muller just getting through, edging past. Behind us is Jason Plato. Ahead of us is Yvonne Muller. This is the left-right through Maggots and Beckett's. Moving a couple of gears. Tarquini right in the thick of it. See the little blue light on top of his aerial, letting us know who's who. Now here's another shot of that great pass by Menu.
Very committed pass by Menu. Thompson unusually caught unawares, and particularly in Ferrari. That's a corner he's very strong in. And then he loses yet another place to Matt Neal.
Here's the Menu eye view of it. Just that little snap in the tail from James Carr, and Menu just straight in there. Well, that was important. Quick in the dead. He needed points. He's up into 2nd. That's what he needs so far, but this ain't over yet as we watch Tarquini really pressuring Yvonne Muller in the Vauxhall, and the drag back up the hill. Bridge Corner. Very fast. 5th gear. Sparks from the front of Muller's car.
I mean, he had 2 wheels not on the racetrack and not on the curb, actually on the grass on the inside of Bridge Corner.
The whole field jammed together through the complex. Brake discs glowing with the heat, on board with Plato. He's right in the thick of this. Muller just ahead of us. Tarquini is around here as well somewhere. There he is, feeding the power on onto the back straight. Plenty of squirming from Tarquini's car too.
Yeah, Plato took a strange line. He was very wide into Luffield. That let Tarquini slide through. Now, what Plato's plan is, certainly that wasn't part of it.
Well, Menus is going according to plan so far at least. He's up into 2nd position, and Anthony Reid, the The man he's vying with for the championship is back in 5th. That's not the plan. There he is ahead of us. Anthony Reid in 5th position. That's the view from Van Muller's car. And he looks as though he's defending, and Muller looks as though he's muscling his way through. Yes, he has. Anthony Reid has seeded a point, pushed a little bit wide. A good strong pass from Muller, but very bad news for Reid.
Remember, that's the part of the track. Reid got tagged by Tarquini in the sprint race. I think he's just being overcautious. He's actually driving. He's still tight.
Well, the nightmare continues because he's still got Tarquini breathing all over him as we look at the Class B battle, and Dan Eves leading in the Peugeot ahead of newly crowned champion Morrison in the second of the Peugeots, scampering down the pit straight together.
And Eves' reward is, well, you can go out and win the feature race if you like, Dan, but there's one very disappointed man indeed, Rickard Rydell.
Bad luck, really. Had a water leak at the start, so I was second in the grid, and of course it was difficult to win the championship, but if I had won, I would have had Alan would have had to finish 4th and Anthony 6th. As it turned out, now I didn't get to start the race, but I mean, looking back to the season, I've been really pleased. We've been on the pace all year. I've been the fastest qualifier all year on average, and we lost it earlier in the season, I think. So we had like 2 or 3 disqualifications and another couple of things that went wrong. So I've had. It hasn't been my year, really. We've had the pace, but we haven't had the results.
James Thompson, one of the Class B runners, moving out of the way as this horde of maniacs comes sliding through on Bridge Corner. Anthony Reid there being pressured by Gabriele Tarquini, the man that he came unstuck with in race 1. But here is Muller, and here is Matt Neal, and Muller is forcing his way down the inside and makes it. And then Muller's sideways, and Matt says, oh yeah, you really want to play? Let's come back again. Matt Neal forces his way back around. Very, very tough.
But what a nightmare for Anthony Reid. He wants to have a nice clean race, but he's been bogged down in a real street fight. In the meantime, we've got 2 pit stops. Jason Plato and Gabriele Tarquini. And Plato knocks the red and white ball into the top corner.
Jason Plato demonstrating where you actually ought to brake to go into the pit lane. Not here, Gabriele. There.
So the Honda pits fairly early down the pit lane. Vauxhall down at the very end. Let's see what Honda can do. Well, 4.48, absolutely fantastic. But Plato, Tarquini was actually moving before Plato stopped. Plato 4.44, 400ths of a second. And Tarquini, can he get it? Yes!
The battle goes in and out of the pit lane as well. Tarquini still bruised from Jason Plato, shoveling him into the pit lane, tows him back out again.
And it really can't get any better than that.
Down under Bridge Corner again, funneling through one after the other. Some have had pit stops, some have not. Anthony Reid still out there collecting a point, as he will, for leading the race. Now here's a wheel's eye view from Rademacher's car.
I am a puncher. I'm not sure right or left. Right here or front, but we have to take both right side, I think.
Well, that little puff of blue smoke was the tyre puncturing. And Muller's going to have to go into the pits. Whatever his strategy was, it's all changed.
Almost doesn't go into the pits. Running very wide there.
And I think they're talking about changing all 4, because Muller's not sure whether it's 1 or 2 wheels are punctured.
We're doing all 4. All 4.
Well, this will give them a headache. Very big job for the Vauxhall boys to do, and this is going to take more time.
Yes, it is. It's a real change of luck and fortune for Muller. So they've got to take all 4 wheels off. Remember, there's a limited number of people. Look at those brake discs. It's still absolutely glowing red. And this is in the pit lane. But the clock's ticking away. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14.56 seconds. Well, it must have seemed like 14 minutes.
Organised pandemonium there. And Anthony Reid, boy, he's getting really mad now. That's Matt Neal in the way. He wants the place. This is the battle for 5th. Neal's to the left of us. You can just see his headlights down on the racetrack. But Anthony Reid is desperate to get past, and he's made that stick, has he? Yes, he's got 2 of them. Right behind him, Rademacher is one of them, Neal is the other. There is the wheel's eye view once again from Rademacher.
Yes, pit next lap, pit next lap. Okay, next lap. Okay, menu in this time round. Yeah, 1.5 minutes. Standard pit stop front tyres, please.
Well, they sound very calm, but that's the championship we're talking about. Menus pit stop.
But here's the race leader, Tom Christensen, in his Honda into the pits. So let's see what Honda can do for him. Get him up get those tyres on, down 5.16. That's probably about the slowest outside of Ivan Muller that we've seen all evening, but it's still good enough to keep him in the lead.
Here's the pit stop that really counts. Alain Menu, close to the Fords in. Inching his way down the pit lane. Feels so slow, but this is key.
Well, at 64 kilometers per hour, that's the maximum speed. Well, somebody's been studying time and motion study at the Ford team. 4.24. It doesn't get any better than that.
Matt Neal coming in as we see Alain Menu disappearing down the pit lane.
And you think the Team Dynamics team had worked hard enough, they had to rebuild a car. This is actually the 98 car. And Matt Neal, well, a little bit late getting off the jacks. And almost loses the engine, but nonetheless back into the field.
And that old car's absolutely flying. It might be an old nail, but it's very, very competitive. This is competitive too. It's Tarquini and it's Plato, and they still won't leave each other alone. Down through Abbey Corner. We're on board with Plato, heading up the hill. Bridge Corner. Just a little lift. Dab on the brakes now. Plato trying to lunge through into the complex. This is the lit part of the stadium. Huge crowd gathered. Plato looking, lining him up down the inside. Can he get through? Excuse me. Jackson Plato just nuzzles straight into the door of Tarquini. The Tarquini says, not on your life. Flinches. Plato ducks back.
Well, every time one gets the advantage into the corner, the other counters and takes it at the exit of the corner. That's what good motor racing's all about.
These two have been clanking together like a pair of old chains for the whole race long. And once again, Plato behind, Tarquini in front. Still that close through Copse Corner. Very quick right-hander. Tarquini loves to take this wide, and he's taking it wide again. We saw him do that. Oh, here's a new tactic, bit of road rage. Flashing his lights. Get out of my way. I'm in the fast lane. I want you past. Down there's a slower runner there. Tarquini moves. Tarquini is spinning. It works. Flash his lights. Tarquini off.
Well, he was certainly distracted by the lights flashing, but also he had Nick James ahead of him on the Honda. Combination of those two stresses and pressures. And well done, Jason. You used the psychology and you got your place.
Well, here's the Tarquini eye's view of it. Nice save.
But all to no avail. Look at that. Plato goes past, probably laughing himself silly, thinking, well, that was easy. I wonder how many more I can pull that one on.
It'll be 2 fingers next. James Thompson, meantime.
Okay, James, I need a big push from you in this pits, okay? Don't shortchange me. Let's have it right under the 64Ks. Come on, me beauty. That's it. Come on, let's keep it coming. Come on, 64. Come on, push, push, push.
Bit of Olympic spec motivation there for James Thompson. Sounds like a weightlifting coach. Push, push, push.
I thought it was a bit of potty training myself. But in the meantime, Anthony Reid has stayed out. Of course, he picks up that extra point for leading a lap. So let's look at Thompson of the Honda team as he comes in for his one and only service of the evening. 5.5 seconds. Not that brilliant. We've seen better from Honda this evening.
64Ks, that's it. Come on, let's really go, really go, really go. Okay, I want a really fast lap out of here, James. You've got to push as hard as you can. You've got Menu just coming to Copse now, okay?
There's the battle at the front end, and James Thompson, as we can hear, is very much a part of it. Being told to get his skates on quickly. He goes down the pit lane exit. Alain Menu will be around here somewhere.
And of course, Alain Menu will have the benefit of those warm tyres.
Problems for David Leslie.
Yes, he's been smoking all evening. I think this looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than just the average stop for wheels.
Now here's Anthony Reid, the pit crew look around. This is critical.
Reid been languishing in the midfield. We see David Leslie cut across the front, 4.9. Again, a great stop from the Ford team, but Anthony Reid's got a mountain to climb to take that championship away from this man, currently in second place.
Yeah, it's all starting to fall into place, isn't it, for Alain Menu? He needs to hang on to this position now. He doesn't need to win. He just needs to stay in front of Anthony Reid, and the job is done.
And the options that were open to Menu or Rydell at the start of this event were not that great, but they've brought it to themselves. And Menu right now is in position to take the 2000 championship.
As long as he can keep a couple of cars between himself and Anthony Reid, Reid right behind him would make life too complicated, too close for comfort. But as it stands, with Christensen in the lead, Menu up the sharp end and Anthony Reid in the middle of the field, it's really going to fall Menu's way, which is not what we thought at the start of all of this. Back into the complex again. Now look, that's one of the Peugeots is slowing. That's Morrison.
All gears, all the gears have gone. Fucking round in one gear then, just finish.
Well, I tell you, all the gears may be gone in the car, but when it comes to the party tonight, there'll be plenty of gear, and it'll all be liquid.
Well, that's as may be. Christensen, meantime, at the front is still holding off Menu comfortably. Thompson is right behind Alain Menu in third, then Plato, Reed, and Tarquini. Even so, this isn't working according to plan. Now, here's Rademacher and Tarquini again. Down into Maggots and Beckett's. Here's the Beckett's right-hander, Tarquini looking to cover. And Rademacher looking to get past. This is very close indeed. Now they're side by side down the hill. Rademacher moving wide to try to get a run down past Tarquini. Tarquini gives him the squeeze, moves to the inside of the track. Back on board with Rademacher. Abbey Corner is coming up. Stopping on the brakes, dancing down through the gears. Rademacher gets a very good run through there, hangs back and then stands on the gas.
Yeah, he took the very wide entry. Tarquini was very tight, so the advantage is to Rademacher coming up to bridge.
Sweeping through the right-hander, Tarquini with a little blue light, letting us know where he is now. Rademacher lunging down the inside, contact, sliding sideways. Ladies and gentlemen, test your partners. Synchronized slide there from Rademacher and Tarquini. Beautiful to watch, and Tarquini has lost the place.
And Tarquini certainly left the door open. Rademacher just dived inside. Heavy contact between the Vauxhall and the Honda, but Rademacher has gotten away with it.
Very tough stuff indeed. Scratching their heads on the Honda pit wall. Now here's another look. We're on board with Gabriele Tarquini through bridge and into the left-hander.
And all of a sudden, there he is. Well, we don't see him, but you can certainly see the effect. Massive dig in the left-hand door of Tarquini's Honda.
Makes you feel winded. There's another look. Gabriele Tarquini stands on the power there to stop the car spinning. Buckets of smoke off the front tyres. Well, it's his second great save of the evening, I think, but he did lose the place.
Well, this is how a Honda should look. Tom Christensen has been sublime all night.
Just working to the pace that suits him. A 4.5, almost 5-second lead over Alain Menu with Thompson in third position. Then it's Plato, then Reed and Rademacher, and we know that because they are all so close together still. Now there's Dan Eves, the Class B leader, and right behind him is the battle for third place. It's James Thompson on board with Plato. Thompson gets a little bit sideways there. Now they're side by side, up and over the hill into the darkness. They're going to go left and right. Plato lunging down the inside. Thompson trying to fend him off. The back of that car swerving, and Plato through.
And the pass began on the exit of Cobb's Corner. Plato got the momentum up into Beckett and put his Vauxhall inside Thompson's Honda. Job done.
Now can James fight back? Back down the hill, very fast part of the circuit. Looking around the outside, seeing if he can get enough of a run on Jason Plato. He's got the nose hooked in behind, but not enough.
But we've seen all year that Honda's really got the squirt in a straight line, but into bridge it's going to be tight.
Well, it's got plenty of power, but part of the reason it's so slippery, isn't it? That Honda, not as much downforce as some of these other cars, and that really helps in a straight line.
It does, but the majority of circuits in Britain, of course, are much tighter than the international circuit at Silverstone. So really it's here at Silverstone that Honda are showing to their best strength.
And it looks slippery, that Honda, and it looks slippery on the track as well, because that's Anthony Reed and Vincent Rademacher all over the back of Anthony Reed now. Going back onto the back straight. This is not what Anthony needs now. He needs to be closing in on Alain Menu and getting points, not being monstered by Rademacher. Down the pit straight, Rademacher trying to draft around through Cobb's Corner. He's getting closer, not further away. This is a problem for Anthony Reed. Up and over the rise. Now here's the view from Rademacher's car. That's Reed right ahead of us. Anthony's trying to defend. Vincent is trying to ease his way around. There's a left and a right coming up here. There's the left, here's the right, and Reed is around. I don't know if there was contact, but Reed sliding across the track and off and in the gravel.
Well, that's awful. Anthony Reed, his championship is gone. I couldn't tell if there was contact or not. If it was very slight. But if there was, it doesn't really matter. It's over.
And those faces really tell the story. That has really shot the fox. The fight over now. Alain Menu is the only man out. Reed's getting out of his car. Let's have another look.
We're looking at the two cars to go through Maggots. Then suddenly Rademacher right on the boot lid. I think there was contact. Rademacher touched the back of Reed's car. Anthony Reed has really driven very tentatively all day. Nervous of traffic behind him. Found himself bogged down in the midfield throughout both races. And let's look again. Let's see. Can we? Oh yes, there you can feel. You can see and feel the contact.
Well, Anthony had it all to do. Here's the view from his car now. Yeah, instant turnaround, straight off.
And the big frustration for Anthony Reid is, why is anybody bothering? Rademacher's got nothing to do with me. Tarquini's got nothing to do with me. I've lost the championship because of 2 other drivers.
True enough, victim of circumstance. You could say that it was a tall order for Reedy because we were fast running out of laps and he was wedged in the middle of the pack. We watch old Tom Christensen there come across the line for the last time, but even so, he has been deprived of having a shot at it, and of course that has taken the pressure right off Alain Menu.
Yes, and Menu really now can afford to pretty much relax. This is the last lap. He's got Jason Plato behind him. Plato has been charging the second half of the race. He's been the quickest car on the track.
He's in 3rd position now. Menu does not need to get tangled up with him. He is the last Ford standing. All he has to do is bring it across the line and the championship is his. Plato moving in behind him now into Beckett's corner. Down the back straight. Plato is really on a charge, driving very well. He's moving down the outside of Alain Menu, down into Abbey Corner, side by side. Menu's moving very wide, no defence.
No, very sensible also. Menu deciding that 3rd place is good enough for the championship. Give Jason the honours. He's driven strongly all evening.
Alain Menu needs a wheel on all 4 corners of this Ford just to bring it across the line. Just a couple of corners left. Be quite happy to see the back of Plato's car. Not a problem for him now. Just the complex. And then the Luffield corner to go.
And really, what a moment for Alain Menu en route now to his 2nd British Touring Car Championship.
There are the eyes just concentrating. Keep it together. All other obstacles have been removed in the form of his teammates. That is the last corner Alain Menu will drive in a Super Touring car before he takes the championship. Nice stuff. Congratulations to Alain Menu, the 2000 champion, and don't forget Tom Christensen as well, the winner of this race by a very healthy margin. And there's the confirmation. 2nd win of the night for Tom Christensen. Nice stuff. Good drive from Jason Plato. Menu let him through, but he was really charging anyway. Alain Menu, championship winner. And then Rademacher and Muller make it 3 Vauxhalls in the top 5. Then Tarquini, Matt Neal, the independent, and James Thompson. Highly entertaining. But it's all Alain Menu. Well done, mate.
What a blinder. That was excellent. He pushed and pushed.
Tom Christensen, 2nd time in a night. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Steam coming off you. That was hot work out there.
Yeah, but when I get that advantage, then it's very easy to pace yourself. And on the last 10 laps, the left rear just went, but I had a good lead, and obviously Alain got under pressure, so it was just to cruise home from there.
Great win. Congratulations. You're in control.
Thank
and this man, Alain Menu.
Well done.
Congratulations, champ. And the year 2000 champion, Alain Menu. Tell us, how are you feeling?
Much better than 97. It's amazing. I mean, I think I started to cry with 2 corners to go on that last lap. Just amazing, you know, after that first race where I went off, and then I knew I had to finish in the first 3, and for Anthony Reid not to finish better than 5th. And so I pushed, and I got Thompson at priori on lap 2, I think it was. So I was like, like daring move, but I thought I got nothing to lose. And then, I mean, the car was fantastic, and the guys did a very good pit stop, and then I drove it well, and I'm very, very happy.
So confirmation, Alain Menu, the 2000 champion, and the last race of Super Touring. Not too much can be said about Menu or his teammates Rydell and Reid, who took him so close to the wire, and also the dominance of Ford throughout the year. Ivan Muller, first of the rest in Vauxhall, and his teammate Jason Plato right behind him. Then it's a pair of Hondas, Tarquini and Christensen in the championship, with Matt Neal finishing 8th outright. What a drive from the independent. In Class B, it was as close as well, with Alan Morrison just winning out after a season-long battle with James Kay. Kay's teammate Lemmer in 3rd. But it was this man's night, this man's year, 2nd time for Alain Menu, the British Touring Car Champion.